So my whole life, I don't know if maybe I would just say I've been a people pleaser. I hate to say that because it sounds kind of like a weak thing to say, but it's not weakness necessarily. It's a skill that has not been trained. Like in culture, people invite you somewhere, you say yes. Especially grow up in Scotland, it's like you don't want to disappoint people. It's polite to say yes. And also when we're kids, we want the love of our parents, right? I think a lot of it stems from that, or we want love from someone. So we say yes. Like you don't want to miss out the FOMO, and or if I don't say yes to this, well, they might not ask me again. So we get in this habit of, hey, would you mind doing this? Or hey, do you want to come and do this? People I've noticed have a hard time saying no, myself included. But over the last 18 months, 12 months, I've really shifted. And I've said that a few times before. I'm not sure if I'm getting older and grumpier or just wiser and more fulfilled and really honing in on I need to make sure I'm making decisions for me and my life that are aligned with what I want to do. And the flip side of that is like, well, that's very selfish. Well, on the flip side of that, what else am I going to do? Am I going to say yes to other people's requests all the time, their agenda? And so
Mhm.
it came to a moment this past Sunday. I went to a new church, big church, and a deacon is someone that um, really focuses in on the church, help them grow. And he opened the door, and we had a great conversation. The older man, could tell he's successful, and it was cool guy. And he said, "Hey, you know what? A bunch of us go to lunch after uh, church to hang out and talk." And my immediate internal response was, I've made a number of commitments to myself. What I'm going to be doing, like training wise, the food I'm eating, how laser focused I am on what I want my life to look like. And that wasn't part of the agenda. I didn't expect that. Yes, that request to come in from him. But my mouth said, sure, that would be great. But internally, I'm like, I really don't want to do that. Nothing
Mm.
against him, nothing against them.
Yeah.
Socializing after church with people I don't know, I'm like that's not my idea of fun. At some point, if it's good friends and I know them well, and we've spent time together, then that could be something I say yes to if I've pre-planned it. But I said yes, and then this is before the service, so we go into church, and I'm telling Kel, hey, we're gonna go do this, and I'm just sitting there. I'm like, something doesn't feel right. Something does not feel right. I listen to the sermon, and I'm just like, no, I don't want to do that. And I've never
Mm.
done this before where I'm like, I've said yes to something, because if I say I'm committed to something, I do follow through. This
Yeah.
doesn't really align with that. Like when I say yes to something, I'm truly committed. I made a knee jerk reaction. So
Mm.
I looked over at Cal. I said, we're not going to go to lunch. I'm going to go tell him afterwards. And I think my wife was kind of shocked. She was like, but also at the same time, she was like, oh, okay, cool. Because she didn't really want to either. She didn't know I basically signed her up for this.
Yeah.
And I just felt at peace. I was like, this is going to be it was a peace, but the adrenaline was pumping. I was like, how's this going to go? Like, I'm going to have to disappoint this person. I said yes to something. I'm going to have to back out. This is not normal in society and culture. We don't really do that a lot. So anyway, service ends, and I'm like, you know what? I just still don't want to go to that lunch. So I walk up to him like, hey man, we're not actually going to be able to make it today. Really appreciate the offer, and there's a chance we'll want to do that in the future, but not today. And I
Yeah.
didn't want to make up some excuse like, hey, well, my gran is in Scotland,
Yeah.
and she wants to talk today, or I don't want to say anything that's going to impact my integrity or my honor by making up a lie to get out of it. You know what I realized was, I was thinking all the scenarios. I'm like, I don't want to do that. You don't need to lie. They don't need an excuse. They don't need a reason. The reason is I don't want to, and I have my own reasons. I don't need to tell anybody. Here's
Yeah.
what's going to happen. And I think what I felt out of that was the first time it was kind of an intense version of saying no after someone asking to do something, and I felt respect for myself. I felt authority. I felt control,
Mm.
and I've realized looking back, I've done more of that in different areas, but this was the most intense, and it really clicked for me. And I was like, man, this is something I hope people can learn to do as well. And I know you've done this for a long time, and
Yeah.
I thought this is ideal to really jump into your mind on how you do it and how I'm going to be doing it going forward. And now let me tell you, if you're not that kind of person, if you're a people pleaser or a business owner saying yes to everything,
Mm.
this is the episode for you. It is a superpower to be able to say no. Yes does not help you. We think yes, yes, yes. Oh, that's going to help me go where. The no's is going to help you get to where you need to go. So hold tight to this episode. You're going to get some real gold nuggets. And yeah, man, take us away.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing you say, man, is like I've been saying no, like you said, for the longest time. And I think it's just because where you put your focus, that's where the energy flows. And I think there's a two-way street here, kind of how I always look at life. And for me, it's like you have your no and yes, right? So you have your no, and then you have your, which is the road less traveled. And then you have your yes, which is the road most traveled, which is what most people say yes to, right? Whether it's the fear of FOMO, the fear of missing out, or whether it's because they're bored or they're not wanting to stare down their emotions, they're saying yes to that vacation. You see, they're always saying yes. Well, so the problem with that is, to me, it's a ticking time bomb, is that it's going to, by saying yes, it's not if, but when it leads to burnout, stress, and a lack of focus.
Yeah.
So when you say no, and from my experience, the times that I have said yes, that's what it's led to. I'm like, kind of the same feeling that you went through is like, oh my gosh, what did I sign up for? And
Mm,
now I take a different approach. Now I look at it as, okay, when I say no, I'm going to protect my time, and I'm going to protect my energy, and I'm going to protect my resources, because our time is our greatest asset. Especially way I look at it is for like business ownership, entrepreneurship. We only have so much time. We all have the same amount of time, but what are we saying yes to, and what are we saying no to during those days?
yeah.
And so for the individuals like business owners and entrepreneurs that I think about, that are saying yes to everything, and then they wonder why they don't have time for anything to do the things that they enjoy doing. Well, I would encourage that individual to look and assess their, what does their day look like? What are they saying yes to? And then the things that they're saying yes to, here's the kicker, here's the key ingredient. Is it aligned with your goals? Is it aligned with your values? Is it aligned with your priorities? Well, you
Mm,
may be thinking, Sean, well, maybe, kind of, perhaps, I don't know. I need to revisit that. And so when you get super clear, when you get so clear on your values, on your priorities and the direction that you're going personally and professionally, for your family and for your business and your team members, man, it's so easy to say no, Ewan.
yeah.
It's so easy because it's not aligned with who I'm trying to become. It's not aligned with my goals. It's not aligned. And what help me in my decisions on yes or no's is the values. So if, for instance, if somebody said, what my number one value is optimizing well-being, right? Well, that's one of my top values. So if somebody's like, "Hey, Sean, we're going to go to a Golden Corral buffet here in Conroe, and we're going to do a meetup," what am I going to tell them? Yes or no?
It's not an option.
It's not an option. Hey, no, but here's what I would do. I would say, I propose a new place. How about we go to Salada? That's
Mm,
exactly what I do. So if you're somebody listening to this and you're always the no guy, right? And you're thinking, well, dude, then I'll never be able to do anything. Propose something, additional. Hey, you know what? This, where you guys are going doesn't, I'm on a health kick right now. This is very important to me, and I've got a competition coming up, or whatever it may be, right? I'm on a lifestyle, healthy nutrition. I'm saying no, and it hurts me to say no, but would you guys be open going to Salada?
yeah.
Right? If I did want to go hang out with them, I would propose a new thing to go with them, because now that's a lot of that food, that intake is going to be aligned with my goals and my beliefs and my values. Now, here's the two-part question on that. If these people that ask me to go, Ewan, if I don't know who they are, then, I'll typically go, and I'll, just to kind of network and build a relationship, right? Because that is aligned with, okay, hey, how can we help each other out and go that direction? But if I know these individuals, I'm like, dude, I don't want to hang out with them, because of their negativity, because of what their beliefs and their values, that's an easy no. You could go to the healthiest place in Texas, and I'm going to say no because of those two things.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. And you don't have to be, and not saying that you are, but you don't have, it's not rude to say no. I think a lot of people feel, well, I don't want people to be offended, or I
Yeah.
don't want people to be upset. I don't want them to stop asking. I don't want them to be disappointed, right? Because that's just our culture. We don't want to disappoint people. That's how we have relationships. We want to enjoy those, make people happy, and have a cohesive relationship. But when it comes to this, it's surprising if you look at when you say no, how does that position you in their minds? If you're always saying yes, it's almost like, well, I know they're going to say yes, and who does that innately? Not we're not thinking consciously about this, subconscious. But when you say no to things, you get more respect. It's you get more respect because
Yep.
we know it's difficult to say no, and that person just pulled it off. They just said no, and I know in culture people say yes to things. So what do they have that I don't? How are they able to say that to me? I'm actually curious. I'm actually
Yeah.
curious now, and that person knows where they're going. And when you hang around people who know where they're going, that clarity that you're talking about, it's like it's a different vibe, man.
Yeah.
It's very purposeful, and it's driven. And so I think it's there is a really sweet reward for being able to say no. And I remember hearing this thing. It was Tim Ferriss that said this. There's a number of ways to deliver it, because for me at church, so I was a knee jerk yes. I kind of got caught cold. Like I hadn't really been asked that because it was a new church and in a while. And for me to say yes, it was like, oh, what have I done? And I could immediately feel it in talking about values, clarity, goals. It immediately didn't align with those. And
Yeah.
so they were so powerful. I was able to go get out of it, knowing what I know, reflecting back. I
Mm.
would have immediately have said, and thanks so much for the offer. I already have a commitment that I won't be able to make that. And my commitment is to myself. Like, I don't need to
Yes.
explain it, but it's just a polite way of doing that. And I was thinking, as far as when it comes to business, when people ask, hey, would you sponsor this thing? Would you sponsor our deal? Or would you donate? Or would you want to partner up on this, collaborations? I think Tim Ferriss, I'm pretty sure it was him that said this, or he used it from someone else. It was at the start of the year, I plan out all my charities, all my donations,
Mm.
all my partnerships. I plan those up front at the start of the year. So unfortunately, I won't be able to commit to what you've asked because that's already. But if you want to get with me at the start of next year when I'm doing my planning, I would love to see if we can make this work.
Yeah.
Boom. No one can argue with that. No one can argue with that. And another one is when people ask things. When you say, "Hey, I have a rule that I don't do X. I have a rule, and I can't ever break that rule." No one can convince. They can't come back and be like, "Well, what about?" There's something
Yeah.
about saying I have a rule. It
Mm.
gets you, it's a get out of jail free card because they're like, "Well, oh, he has a rule." Like it's some invisible, like a real barrier, but it's real though. And so I've used that in the past, and I think just being pre-prepared. Because you don't want to, like, you might want to say yes to some things, but you would already have that. Okay, if it fits this set of criteria, I say yes to those things. And if it doesn't set that set of criteria, then I say no. And
Mm.
then the next step is I have outs. I have language to use to get me out of these things. And I think it definitely sets you up to be more powerful. You're in control of where
Yeah.
you go, what you do, and people really respect that.
Yeah. No, I love that, man. And one thing that I heard you say is like one of the things that you're really good about is your wordage. And so when I think about people, even myself, sometimes I don't like I come off abrasive, I come off aggressive, and like I just tell people no. Like I'll literally use capital letters NO with the exclamation mark.
I love it, dude.
That's how I roll. No, I'm a little bit more kinder than that, especially over the years. But in the past,
Yeah.
I'm like, nope. I'll say something like that. But now I've had to really leverage, and this is, and there may be business owners and entrepreneurs that resonate with me. And so you're really good at what you do and like your wordage, and you really put the work in behind the scenes. But for somebody going, oh man, I just don't really know what to say. I feel shame, and what can I do? How can I remove the emotion? Here's my number one key thing that I've been using, and it works beautifully. I've even given this to some of my coachees that I coach. And if something, you get invited to something, whether it's email, text message, direct message, and you're like, oh, I don't know how to respond to this person. 9 times out of 10, you're going to procrastinate. You're not going to respond to that person. Well, you're probably going to see that person in person, right?
Hmm.
And then it's going to be just awkward. And then also it's going to be weighing on you subconsciously. And
It is a
you're
weight.
going to pull your peace. You're going to pull your respect, everything. So when you see that come through, in my mind, I just copy that. I go to ChatGPT, pull up ChatGPT, respond to this text message, kindly saying no. And
I
ChatGPT
love it, dude.
gives me, and I just copy it and I send it back to him. And 9 times out of 10, I'm like, oh, I just removed my emotions from that and leveraged my tool. So business
Beautiful.
owners that I've helped and entrepreneurs that I've helped in an action step in like, okay, I don't really know what to say. It's not as beautiful as what Ewan said, and whichever way you want to go about it. If you're the
Yeah.
one wanting to say it, or hey, use ChatGPT, man. Type, copy their question or their invite or whatever it may be, punch it in there, kindly respond no, and boom, copy and paste that, tweak a little bit, and then send it back. You literally just removed yourself from the
Yeah.
situation.
I
To
love
me,
that,
that's a
man.
system. You've removed yourself as the bottleneck, and you don't have your emotions.
If they
Uh,
ask you live, you're with them, be like, give me 1 sec, and you just type in the chat GPT. Be like, you read it to them.
I got to go to the bathroom real quick. Chat GPT.
Yeah. And you know what? To shift gears, but along the line of what you just said, so we're talking about like personal interactions, which is the micro, right? Let's say on the macro side with a business, it's very easy to want to say yes to
Mm,
things that you should say no to, because you're trying to do that hustle. You're trying to grab onto any branch to swing to. And I think it's important to also have that clarity to be able to say no to those things. Because the shiny object thing is real. It is
yeah,
super real. Well, let's do this. Oh, maybe we need that. And you start doing those things, and it's burning your time. It's wasting your time. And so, having the business acumen, or the counsel or the coaching to know what to say yes to and to know what to say no to. There's a number of things that I thought, oh, this let's go this direction. This could be
yeah,
good, and it was a good idea, and it would have
yeah,
been successful, and it would have been good. But it still is better to say no to those things, like hindsight.
yeah,
And I think that's, from an entrepreneurial standpoint, it's very easy to want to say yes because you're just
yes,
trying to get going, but it's actually counterintuitive. By saying
yep,
no, yeah, it might be a short-term loss of income or partnership, but the no is going to allow you to continue on what is consistent, what is important, and it's going to end up being so much more valuable to you. But you want to speak to that real quick?
yeah, 100%. When I was building when I started in 2015, the insurance brokerage, like one of the things that I had, when you're starting a new business, like I started scratch. I started with $0 coming in. And if you're a new business owner and entrepreneur, you're trying to cast the net out there and say yes to everything. And that was everything from auto insurance, homeowners insurance, business insurance, life insurance, health insurance. And I said yes to it all. I was licensed P&C, life and health. And I was just consumed, not all in. I was consumed with all this
Mm,
business getting thrown at me because of the marketing and the advertising I was doing. And I realized over time it was a slow, painful death, Ewan, slow, painful death,
mm,
where I soon realized I was like, dude, I'm saying yes to everything in business. Right. And I sit here and I'm thinking like not only independent brokerage, but like if you're a real estate lawyer, if you're a landscape owner, if you're a HVAC company, a plumber, what are you saying yes to? And what are you saying no to?
mm.
More than likely, if you're that mindset of saying yes to everything, on the flip side of what we've already talked about, and you're like, dude, that's cash flow, that's money in my pocket. Well, I soon realized, like, dude, I'm spreading myself super thin right now.
Do you
I don't
remember that
have a
moment?
corporate.
Do you remember?
What's
Do
that?
you, do you remember the clarifying moment of like what was it that the straw that broke the camel's back? Do you remember like maybe one or two of the times where it was like, oh man, I've said yes to too many things. Like, do you remember that? Like that maybe hit you in the chest. What was that like? What was
Yeah,
it?
it was about 3 years in, because the first 3 years, like somebody you could have a Sean right in front of you and say, hey man, look, what you're doing, like I could, here's the blueprint, right, son? But if an ego and pride is driving the boat, then good luck, right, on listening. And so because of the lack of clarity, when that time hit for me, it was probably that 3 to 5 years in, where I was like, dude, I'm doing everything. And
Mm,
so I need to hone it in on what it is that I not only enjoy doing, saying yes to, but that is also aligned with what I'm really good at. And what it came down to is I really liked auto and homeowners insurance, and then some other products that came with that. So then I slowed my roll on health and life and business insurance immediately, because I started getting clarity. After getting clarity and a vision, and started working harder on the business than not in it, like we talked about it in the prior episode of the business being an asset versus a liability, I was able to replace myself with an agent that was going to come in and write that auto and homeowners insurance, right?
mm,
And then, okay, cool. Now I can do some life and health insurance, and that's what I did. I went to life and health, and then replaced myself there, and then started replacing myself because of the clarity,
yeah.
right? But then I was on that hamster wheel. I was staring at the wall. I was in the rat race, just doing everything, saying yes to everybody that wanted to give me an opportunity. Oh, I've literally just spent the last 12 months doing auto and home. You want a life insurance policy? No problem. Come, and
Yeah.
then I'm spending 9 hours on this life and health insurance policy. And so I feel like you just, not only are you spreading yourself thin and overwhelming yourself, but you're also doing like your customer, your community, and even yourself a disservice to a certain degree.
With no names, can you think of some of your coachees where you've crossed those bridges with them, and you've picked up on they're saying yes to too many things, or they're spreading themselves thin? Is there any examples you can think of where you were talking to them about this, and they were like, oh, okay, they take the advice and they suddenly realize, oh, that's that worked. Do you have any of those kind of coachees?
Yeah, I got one in mind, and when he hears this, he's probably gonna know who I'm talking about. But there's a lot of individuals out there, and I have a lot of people like this in my life that where they know this and they say this they've said it to me, they've said it to you, they've said it to Level Up and Live, they said it in their community. Like, people struggle with accountability, right? And so here's the thing: if you basically just went off the grid for 6 months and didn't listen to another podcast, didn't listen to another YouTube video, didn't read books, just went off the grid and went super like Buddhist, like Zen, you know, you're gonna go back to what you're familiar with. You're gonna go back to your old habits. You're gonna go back to, what you're used to and comfortable doing. And so with this particular individual, is before he got coaching, he was the yes guy, man. Fear of missing out, like, sign me up, let's do it.
Mm,
And to a certain degree, when you're starting a new business, I think you have to do that, but you also have to be intentional about what you're saying yes to.
yeah,
And what I mean by that is, if you don't have a clear vision, if you're not clear on where it is that you're going and you're saying yes to, then you're doing it backwards. See, if you're saying yes and you don't know where you're going, you're
mm.
you're you're at
Such a
you're
simple
at a
tweak, but
yep.
so heavily missed, and that the consequences are dire, which is like that
Yes.
feeling of burnout, and it could be years worth of that. But if you had just that simple criteria up front, changes the
Yeah.
whole trajectory of your energy levels for the next 3, 5, 10 years.
Yep, exactly. And so once we eventually, I was like, okay, well, hey, there's nothing. I'm not going to take that away from you. And fast forward all these months with this individual, and every time, I think that's why he's plugged himself into the mastermind group. He's plugged himself into coaching, having the conversations, is because it just takes those, like you said, those small little tweaks to understand. Go, oh, what am I saying yes and no to? Right? Because if you're not being held accountable, if you're not getting that guidance, if you don't have that clarity and revisiting that on a weekly basis, like he has said himself, man, I'm struggling with this, and going back and asking myself the question, making sure that I'm forward thinking, backwards planning. And to some people, it's a challenge, it's a struggle, and you have to look at it every single day. You have
Yeah,
to be intentional about what you're saying yes and no to, especially if you struggle with it. If you struggle with food, if you struggle with emotional eating, if you struggle with any type of just anything outside of basically being a human being and sinning,
yeah,
right? Then you have to have that accountability partner to yourself, community. And I think and then what really holds people, the glue together, is not only that accountability, but that clarity of the direction that you're heading. And I know you've shared that behind the scenes on with you pretty much cutting and eliminating sugar, which is so hard to do because sugar is a drug. It's addicting. It's like a cigarette or alcohol or whatever your drug poison is. And I think that accountability and having that North Star, combining those two together, man, dude, the no and the yes, going down the road less traveled, which is saying no because you get super clear on your values and beliefs and being held accountable, you become an unstoppable force. You
power,
can do
power.
anything that you want to do.
Because once you tap into just on the sugar front, I'm 42 now, and this is the first. I mean, I've gone 3 weeks and not. I had 7 or 8 tortilla chips the other day because we were having a meat with it. It was all healthy, but the
Yep.
chips. And as soon as I ate those chips, I could feel like, man, I don't feel right. And I suddenly realized I was like that. And I thought that small amount, but that was that is the only thing I've had. Like no candy, no cakes, no cookies, no burgers, no fries, no pizza, no nothing. Just meat, veg, fruit, seeds, nuts, healthy stuff. And I've the identity shift, the power, I feel so powerful that it's totally transitioning into every aspect of my life. Like honestly, I think I told no to that guy at church because of the who I have become with being able to quit that eating, like that
Mm.
emotional eating or that addictive pattern habit. And so that just as an example of that showing up, and in business and in sales and in just my commitment to myself on my exercise, I'm doing like multiple 2 a days, and I
Yeah.
feel more energized than ever. Should be feeling knackered. Knackered means tired in Scottish. Sorry. And so being able to say no, it builds this identity of someone who is in charge of their ship and the rudder and steering it where they want to go, as opposed to the wishy-washy, no one's at the helm. I'm just saying yes, and it impacts your identity. So if you've got anything from this today, that accountability, having the clear path. If you're someone that says yes to a lot of things and you don't quite have that skill yet, it wouldn't take long to have with an accountability partner or a little bit of coaching to really get a hold of this, and you be a no machine. And
Yes.
people will love you for it. They will chase you down. People want a no guy. You think they
Yep.
want a yes guy? They want, because what's that no guy got?
Yep.
How is he able
100%.
to say this? I can't. Right.
Yes.
So I want to be around that. You can become that person. You'll actually do more business by saying no than if you did saying yes, and you'll be in a state that you absolutely love. And what else is it going to do for your life? Where is it? What other areas will it bleed into? If you don't know what we're talking about yet, it is available for you. You just need to experience it, and everybody can. Every single human being can experience that. So get on board, come visit, talk with us, go find it somewhere else. Who cares? Just be able to become that person that can say no to other people and just see the magic that comes out of this. So hopefully you got something today. Sean, you want to wrap us up?
Yeah, if you're a business owner and entrepreneur and you're listening to this, we've talked about no a lot, but this is one of those times where I'm gonna give it an acceptance here. It's okay to say yes to a strategy call. You can say yes to a strategy call. The link's gonna be in the show notes, so make sure you say yes. We can have a laugh about it on the strategy call, and if you do struggle with that no and yes, but click the link in the show notes, and we can make sure that I can give you some tips, some tricks on what I do. It's free, completely free. So make sure you book that discovery call today. If you like this episode, share in the comments what you liked about the episode. Please leave us a review. We don't do any paid advertising and marketing, so that's how we grow. That's how we expand. That's how we get to new entrepreneurs and business owners. So share this with a business owner, entrepreneur that maybe say yes a lot. So if they need help saying no, we've given some action tips today. And on top of that, we appreciate you and grateful for you for listening to this and sticking with us all the way through the episode. You are the type of individual that is a one percenter in this world by going all the way through and actually staying through the finish line. So thank you so much for your time, energy, and effort today. Outside of that, level up and live.
Level up and live.